Yay!
Yay!
Real live. Talk about like the feminine energy, the masculine energy, how we can get into freedom in a relationship, inside a connection. Because we have so much programming on relationships. Like relationships is something that is so loaded with so much like programming that we think that you should behave like that as a man, and me as a female, as a woman, I should behave like that. How do you think we can create freedom in relationships between the masculine energy and the feminine energy?
In our relationships, how can we create a more loving, abundant relationships that doesn't come from a lack? And for me, it's all about that we know that we are both in a relationship, we are both conditioned.
Mm.
So we both know what we truly are by essence, and that is a free spirit, that's a loving spirit.
Yeah.
And that we are also simultaneously seems to be conditioned in a different way. Tell me a bit more about that program where you speak about
My programming.
yeah.
So, for example, with jealousy, like I would get jealous. I want to be the only girl. I want to be the only human being. I don't want him to even look at other girls. It's like really something that I think it comes from fear, obviously. Like the conditioning and the programming is based on obviously fear of we want to be loved, and because we want to be loved so much, we fear of not being loved. So we kind of develop all these patterns of holding people and like owning them in a relationship, which is just hard for everybody.
Because if something comes from jealousy, it comes from a lack, but you also say it comes from a lack of love, and that doesn't really exist, because by essence we are loved.
We
we
are
came here
loved.
we
Just
came here
by
out of
being
love.
out, we are loved.
Yeah, but we are so, what you also say, conditioned to believe that there is a lack of love, or that we need to seek for to be loved outside ourselves. So then we start trying to seek for the external validation of that we are loved, and the external confirmation of the fact that we are loved. And then this comes out of a lack inside ourselves. And this is also where jealousy can come from, out of the same lack. And if you know that you are loved, if you love yourself enough, then you don't only need to seek it in the outside world. No, you already are.
You are already the love itself.
Yes.
You don't
Then
need to look for confirmation, validation, and approvals from somebody else when you're being
exactly,
the love itself.
exactly. And instead of looking for it, you just constantly receiving it, because you're not seeking for it anymore. You are already acknowledging it from inside out. So when you acknowledge it in your inner world, then the outside world can reflect it back to you.
The external is just a reflection of the internal world, and so within as without. And we tend to forget it sometimes.
It's all about freedom. You want to just feel free entirely. So you want to feel free in your body. You want to feel free in your relationships. You want to feel free in your spirit. You want to feel free in your living situation, in your financial situation. And if you are just feel free in all aspects of your life, then you don't need to seek anymore. Then you just are free, and you are lighter as air, and you can just move through this existence out of love and light.
I think that's the point. Like that's exactly the thing when you're also like communicating with your partner, because after all, we are all here to unlearn and learn again, right?
Yeah,
Unlearn the things that we've been taught, which is like the programming. And once we're being aware to the programming, especially when it comes to love, relationships, marriage. Like these words are so loaded with so much limiting beliefs of how we should be. Disney, for example, the way they the way they programmed us through Disney movies, how a woman should be, how the feminine should be, how the masculine should be, like how much not freeing it is,
Mm.
like having a role model of what femininity is or what masculinity is. Like if you notice in Disney movies, the princess, she's all just feminine, only feminine, and the prince is just masculine. That creates so much blockages, and it limits us to what we should be or
Mm.
not be, because we all of us, we have the masculine and the feminine energy,
Mm.
and freedom is the key to everything. Because even love, when you have freedom, then you can really love. That's
Mm.
the only way you can really love somebody else is through giving them freedom and not trying to take something or to expect them to validate you, give you all the approval, and keep your insecurities, right? Because
Mm.
that's that's the key. Freedom is the key for love and relationships.
And this is the beautiful aspect. Normally, when you share something, then, for example, when you have a cake and you say, okay, I want to share this cake with you, then you say, okay, 50% is from you and 50% is from me.
Yeah.
Then you have to separate the cake.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of love, love doesn't know separation. Love can only be multiplied.
Mm.
So what we are doing here is that we are sharing the space in a loving way, and love is our anchor point of sharing this space. And now it doesn't feel that I have to give 50% to her. No, it feels that we are multiplying this 100% of this space into more and more and more. When she is a bit attached by her conditioning, then I can hold space for her.
Yeah.
I can see the little child is just a bit misunderstood in that specific moment and is pretending that she isn't beloved. She is misunderstood in the belief that she is not worth it to receive my love.
It takes two of people that are willing to heal and to do the work, the inner work, because I think that being able to be free with somebody, they at least needs to be wanting to be as free as you, or to
Yeah,
create and share and co-create freedom with you. Because I think that freedom comes from knowledge. Because the more you know, the more you understand that it's all programming in the end of the day. And the only thing that you really want to do is just unlearn, like break all the programming. And I talk a lot about the programming because I think that's the main thing. The conditioning is what's holding us back from being free and feeling and experiencing love in uh in a true way.
they are just misunderstandings. So then when your partner yeah, is in this experience where she or he is misunderstood in what she or he truly is, then it can become like a trigger for you, of course. And then you have to stay emotionally mature enough, stay connected with your breath, stay connected with your loving heart, so that you can just see the other through its behavior, through its attachments towards separation.
Mm.
So you can hold the other in the moments when she needed the most, in the moments when she
And feel
needs and deserves to be
compassion.
held.
And feel compassion. That's something that I find really incredible with men who's able to feel compassion instead of letting their ego take over. Being able to see the feminine and even feel compassion and understand what's happening behind the scenes. Fear It's fear, it's wounds, trauma, unhealed wounds. We all went through, I think, as a collective, we went through a lot of trauma, a lot of wounds, just by the way the system is working, just the way the matrix is functioning, you know. It creates a lot of fear. It's based on
Mm.
fear. It's fear based when we grow up, but just not when we grow up physically. When we grow up emotionally, spiritually, and energetically, it's our job then to unlearn and heal. And then when you share a connection, I would say as a woman, to share a connection with a man who's able to feel compassion towards me when all my wounds and all my, trauma is taking over, my ego, my fear. And I feel like that's a key when you feel compassion towards somebody and you don't
Mm.
see just yourself and how you want to defend yourself or make a point or be right. You'd choose sharing love and compassion and creating space.
Because from the abundant state of being, you know that you are already loved, that you are already abundant, that you are already free, that you're already enough, that you are already safe, that you already beheld, just by being, just by breathing, just by fact that you are alive. You are already everything. You are already complete. You are already whole. And now the women I'm attracting, they just want to be reflected in this message. They just want to receive the mirror that they are already everything, that they are already enough, that they are already full of love, that they're already whole, that they are already complete, that there is no certain external need in order to give this confirmation. But there are also moments, of course, when their conditioning can come in, what you say, when the ego takes it
Obviously.
over. And it is always taking over when there seems to be, and I say seems to be because it isn't even the reality, but it seems to be the reality that there is a lack, that there is a lack in security or in safetyness. And is a lack in trust, in self-worth, in self-validation. And then the funny fact is that this can trigger the masculine in his ego, because then it is pretending that it maybe did something wrong. But when you can see this, when you can see your loving partner and you see that she is just misunderstood in that specific moment, and that it is just a little child that uh, just picture a loving child. When a child
Love
is
it. I
happy.
love it. I love it. What you're saying is amazing. Yeah. Like the only thing that a woman really wants is to feel safe. Safety is something that I think is the most needed, the most needed for us as women. And I think it's not just about safety, physical safety, of course, it's emotionally, energetically feeling safe in somebody's space, knowing
Mm,
that the man that you're sharing your emotions, your heart with, cares about your well-being and cares about your heart and emotions and knows where it comes from when you flip, like that's the end goal, to be able to sustain freedom inside a relationship. Wow, it could be just heaven, but a part of
mm,
it doesn't want to let go of the conditioning. It's like subconsciously or wherever it is in my mind, something tells me if you give freedom, you will lose something.
mm.
Like that's the fear of losing control. Losing control. In a way, we romanticize having control over your partner. Like we love it when we have control over somebody, when we call them ours. All the songs, all the movies are just talking about the same thing of owning somebody, and even think about it, just marriage. right? The concept of marriage. What do you think about the concept of marriage, by the way?
It's funny because you promise the other to stay truthful towards the other the entire time till the death separates you.
Mm.
Yeah, that's already a really old concept that believes that death is real, that we really can die. So then you
Mhm.
are already attaching yourself to a separated belief that is also programmed.
Yeah.
Instead of attaching yourself towards the belief that what we truly are is infinite, perfect love that cannot die. So that's already one small detail why I'm not resonating with the standard marriage. And I'm also not resonating with the standard marriage because then you promise the other to stay truthful towards the other the entire time. But for me, it's more important to stay truthful towards myself the
In
entire
the now
time.
moment. In the now
In,
moment.
yeah, in order to be able to be truthful towards the other. Because
Mm.
sometimes when I feel a no, then it isn't truthful towards the other to say yes. Okay, wait, I have a question for you. If you have like, if you receive the idea that your partner can't trust himself, what does that do with the trust you have in him?
Mm. That's a great question. I think that for me to trust my partner, I need him to trust himself first.
Exactly. And this is a really beautiful aspect, an important aspect, because when you say with marriage, you say that you sign and you promise the other to stay always truthful towards the other, but it needs to be the other way around. You need to promise yourself that you
Mm.
always stay truthful towards yourself, because that's how you can trust
And that's
yourself.
part of the programming. That's part, I think, of the part of the programming is making us believe that safety can be achieved only from the external. Somebody who's promising something to us for the rest of their lives. And it's impossible because they are not on control on their own life, right? Like we're not on control on our own life, really, only on what's happening inside of us. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. And basically, I think that if we looked at marriage in a different way, like I think it's an amazing thing to have a partnership and to create a family with somebody that you love and trust and your best friend. But with that, the whole conditioning and programming around it creates so much tension and so much resistance and so much fear around it of being afraid to lose the control that we have over them because they promised, right? They promised when you got married that they're gonna be there no matter what happened, and they're gonna love
Mm-hmm.
you, and they're gonna take care of you. And when something happens that contradicts that, like that shows you that oh maybe I can't trust them. So the programming was all about put your trust in somebody else external, even the concept of God. God is somebody out there in the sky. They've been programmed us to think that it's always something outside of ourselves. Our partner, God, whatever the environment. Like we always feel before we heal ourselves and before we are aware of the programming, we're just like zombies doing whatever we think we're supposed to do, whatever we've been taught. And I think that's basically I talked about it before about the Disney movies. I can say that most of us as society truly believe that happily ever after in the concept of Disney is what we should be doing. And if it's not happening, then it's a disaster. Then we feel like we're failing. But that is
Mm-hmm.
because we don't trust ourselves.
Owning that you are already it, that you are already everything where you are seeking for, that you are already all those things you try to get in the outside world, you try to seek for in the outside world. It can be money, success, recognition, validation,
Love,
enlightenment, awakening, love. All those
excitement. What about
excite.
excitement? We want to be
Yeah,
excited. We want to feel alive. And we
exactly.
usually think we can have it through another person.
And we can only truly be alive, and we can only truly thrive if we acknowledge that we are life itself, and that there is nothing outside ourselves that we not already are. That every time when we are seeking for something outside ourselves, that you are just looking at the wrong place.
Mm.
Then you end up in the rat race of your own programming. And the real liberating journey for me, and that's also where I'm guiding my clients in, and where I'm mirroring literally everyone in where I cross paths with, is that they are already it, where they are seem to look for. No matter where they are seemingly looking for, if they are looking for it in the outside world, they have to be reminded that they can't find it in the outside world. Yeah, you can find it, but it will never be changeable. It will never be constant.
Sustainable. You can just rely on something that is dependent on other person.
Exactly. And if you do, then it makes you dependent from the other person. And then you create like a kind of a codependency that isn't really healthy. Because then, for example, in order for you to feel worthy, whole, and complete, you need the other. So when this other person is not there physically or emotionally, then you start missing something.
Mm, exactly. Exactly.
And what you
Codependency is just the opposite of having freedom.
Exactly. And there's like this codependency, and then you have also independency. And that's also not being free, in my opinion, because when you are completely independent, then you can't surrender yourself towards someone else in
Other
in a
person.
romantic relationship. And you also want to open yourself up for the possibility of consciously making yourself dependent in certain aspects. Because how beautiful is it that you as a feminine just can be held and be nourished, and in certain aspects that you don't need to hold yourself all the time, that you know, okay, this night I can let go of everything, and I can just be held by my loving partner, and I can make myself dependent tonight, out of conscious decision. And that is, in my opinion, this
That's
interdependency, this is such a
freedom.
loving thing. That's freedom.
Freedom is choosing consciously to be dependent whenever you want. You're not dependent on the dependency. You're choosing when you want to be
Exactly.
dependent.
Yeah, and then it means also that when you make a decision to attach yourself towards a different entity, and then you attach yourself towards a different entity, and then it's the freedom is to also detach yourself when it doesn't feel in alignment for you anymore, and that's how you stay a free entity. And for example, a beautiful example is that when we go into a relationship, into a partnership, or the fact when we are living here on earth, we call it an innocent ship. The fact that we call it a ship is a really beautiful metaphor, because we can consider our body vehicle as a ship, so the consciousness can move itself through time and space with the
Mhm.
body vehicle, with the ship. And then when you consider yourself as a free entity, you don't want to attach your ship with everyone else's ship. You only want to make a conscious decision when you go in a partnership or in a relationship. And that you are then, of all places in Israel where so much happening, and then simultaneously we can, as ships, bring our ships together and create this co-creation, create this partnership for this moment. And now our ships are uniting as one. And that's what the real conscious unity and a sacred unity, a sacred union relationship is about. That you make a conscious decision to share your ship with another ship, and to reunite as one ship and reunite in love. And then this whole message of Bob Marley is really in alignment, like one love, one heart. one
Let's
love,
get together
one
and
heart.
feel alright.
Exactly. Let's get there and feel all right. Such a beautiful message. And
Everything
this
is
message,
so simple. Everything
yeah,
is so simple. We just complicate everything as humans, but that's what we do as humans, you know?
yeah. And it's silly and funny. And I guess this is also, if we can consider it for what it is and also for what it isn't, then we can laugh about it again. We can just love this whole human
Yeah.
experience, and also the whole narratives about the pain and the separation, because of this dualistic experiences of pain, separation, guilt, shame, blame. Because of that dualistic experiences, we can also acknowledge what we are beyond the dualistic experiences. And this is more about this feeling of oneness, where Bob Marley was singing about, or this was the whole teaching of Christ. This was the teaching of Buddha. It's all about unity consciousness. And it goes even beyond consciousness itself when you really melt into it. Because when you are one, there is no other one. So then you can't even be conscious anymore from the perspective of oneness, because there is no one else to reflect yourself to relate to. You just are. And this is just the amazing experience that we can experience what we truly are. And you can call this like the pure non-dualistic uh, aspect, the oneness. Give it a name, the source, where everything was just still intact in one. And this is like this experience where you can rest in peace, where you can truly breathe, and where you can acknowledge that you are already whole, you're already complete. So there is no external need. You are already everything in that feeling. And then this is where everything is about. But then eventually, sometimes you can also get out of it. That something seems to happen. For example, you can get jealous. For this example you mentioned in the beginning. And the most loving thing to do is then also just to see a little child that it just is misunderstood, that believes it is jealous, but it just feels it's just experiencing a tiny lack of their true identity, and it is attaching towards the separated identity that is experiencing a lack of love, a lack of abundance. And this is where this whole work is about, to then love that as well. Because if we can start loving that, what you also say, by having understanding, by having compassion, then you can love those little aspects that are they are seemingly in a lack of love, but by loving it, by truly caring of it, seeing it, acknowledging it, then it can feel loved again. So then those little aspects that are still experiencing a lack of love, they can slowly be invited to be loved more and more.
I love it. Unlearning everything you think you know is the real flex. That's what you really want to do, right? Like, I
Yeah.
unlearn the things that you think are true. The basic, even the basic things that you've been taught, or just erasing and be brave enough to start again, no matter how old you are. No, I don't even believe in the concept of age. I don't believe in concepts in general. I just believe that we're just flesh and bones right now. That's our vehicle, and we're stuck in this body that which is like a swimming suit, and our soul just want to have fun, just enjoy, just be happy. And because this flesh and bones is programmed, right? Like, my soul is not programmed, it's my body who's programmed, it's my mind, my ego, my avatar. That's what's programmed. And when I'm able to look at it, reflect, just witness even the programming, witness the things that I think, the things that I think that I know, and unlearning them, which is letting them go and surrendering. I think being able to just surrender to your soul, embody your soul in your body, which is just, I think the soul is just light, just, it's just love. It's love. It's freedom. It's freedom. Soul is freedom.
Exactly. And freedom can only be created by unlearning, because everything we have learned made us less free.
Mm-hmm.
So when we really truly want to be free, we have to unlearn everything they have taught us. And then we also have to remind ourselves that this whole process of unlearning can also create new things we also have to unlearn eventually. Because you also mentioned something really beautiful about the soul, but is the soul also not just a concept as well?
Right.
You
The
know,
soul is a
so
concept.
it keeps
The
on.
soul itself is a concept.
Yeah, so it is
Yeah.
always the mind trick that even in the process of unlearning, we are also learning new things, and we also have to let go of those things as well, because every concept has the capacity to trap us right away, and
Right.
that's also makes it quite funny
Mm.
in this whole spiritual world, actually, that there is so much
So
separation going.
dangerous. I find it even so dangerous, I would say, even with something that I was very attached to, which is human design and
Mm,
astrology, maps, charts. This is who you are. This is who you are not. And I think that this is really dangerous because in that spiritual community, there's a lot of things that still want to hold on the the programming, and I know that everything is a concept, even a word, a language. The way we use words is also concepts, and that's why I think we should talk less and feel more, and just be able to talk energetically through our soul and not through language and words. Because the less concepts we are using, the more we embody our soul.
mm. And the only real answer on this is the silence, and that's also funny because we are having this conversation. So in this call, of course, we are not really aiming on the silence. We are aiming on giving words towards the undescribable. We are aiming on uh, trying to put something, a non-dualistic perspective, into an understandable concept again, because that's the whole thing with talking, of course.
Yeah.
And but what you mentioned is completely what I'm relating to as well. And that's why I'm in the retreats that I'm offering, or in the sessions that I'm having with my clients. It's also a lot about the silence and about being able to behold the silence in the first place, to embrace it, because that's the whole thing. Like, we can become really uncomfortable as well, the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine when you are entirely free, when you are free from suffering, then you have to free yourself from everything. So also from your name tag, from the personality that you believe you are, from all the friends you believe you have, from all the family you believe you have, from everything that you inform or pretending that you love. If you truly want to be free, you have to also see that that form isn't the real thing that you love. That the real thing you love is the formless that's beyond the form.
Mm-hmm.
That's really terrifying from the point of view, from the ego, from the personality, because that wants to hold on to something.
The ego
You are,
doesn't want to die. It wants to
yeah.
keep on controlling.
Real freedom means also letting go of the attachments towards what seems to appear, and that's really difficult because then there is, when you don't have anything to hold on to anymore, that's what freedom really is.
Letting go of
Yes, exactly.
attachments. You have to just, I think it's harder to unlearn than to learn. And I think the real work of us when people are starting to wake up, it's also a concept, is to unlearn instead of learning. We've learned enough. We've learned enough during our life. And now I think that the more we are able to unlearn, that the more we're letting go of attachments. And then that's where we can really experience freedom.
Exactly. And then we have to place a dot because otherwise everything that comes after what you just said has already the capacity to trap you again, you know.
To trap
So,
you again. Even
and that's why
unlearning is a concept. You know what?
yeah,
Unlearning is a
exactly.
concept.
It's all about oneness. It's just about one, and everything that came after the one is already a separated concept. It's already a separated idea. So even the feminine and the masculine are separated
Right.
concepts.
And feminine
So
and masculine is a concept too. You're right.
yeah. So if you take it back towards freedom, then you take it back to the oneness. And what if we consider the oneness that is formless? But what if we give it just the form of a cell? It's like a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then the circle, if you identify yourself with this circle, then you identify yourself with the first cell, where we are all still in perfect harmony, where we are all still one. So where you are connected and related to everything and everyone as one. You know that this separation or that you created isn't real. And when you create this realization for yourself, then you naturally come back to this sense of ease, where you can rest in peace, where you feel the harmony again, where you feel the love again. And this is why for me love is the only truth there is, because love is the only thing that gets multiplied. It gets multiplied when you share it.
Mm. Love is the only thing that gets multiplied when you share it. Boom. I love it. Amazing. Yay. Amazing. Wow. I love it so much. I'm going to write it. I'm going to tattoo it in my forehead.
I feel really called to share my gratitude with you for everything where you have been through and where you still are going through, in order to be such a pure, innocent aspect of the real you. And gives me goosebumps everywhere while I mention this. Well, while I'm mentioning this, because when you speak that you are speaking from a place in Israel, you know, there's so much things going on there. So it says a lot that you are still able to give your loving devotion towards this type of things.
Yeah.
And this is also maybe something to give some expression to, you know, also for more people to relate to, because this conversation, I'm aware that I'm speaking in a kind of a language where not everyone is able to relate to yet. And still it is a message for everyone, out of the name of everyone to everyone.
Yeah.
From one to one. So maybe it's also beautiful at some point maybe to give a bit more expression about your situation physically at the moment in the country where there's so much going on at the moment.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to talk about it. It's a heavy situation right now, and it's like we're still, all of us as a nation, we're dealing with trauma. It's a trauma. We went through horrible things lately, and that's why I feel so called to start and talk about it, spreading the message, because in the end of the day, that's the only truth. We can talk about like war and like how we want peace, but in the end of the day, what we're talking about right now, being connected to self, being connected to your soul, that's the only thing that is important. Each one of us is going through their own battle, and that's why I know that the only thing that is really important is to focus the energy on what we're doing right now.
And when you can plant even a tiny seed in someone's consciousness, that's already such a big gift. And
yeah. I'm trying. I just do what like, I'm not even the concept of like having a mission. Like, I'm on a mission. I used to be like, yeah, I have a mission. My mission is to help humanity. I'm gonna help them grow. But even now I realize it's just a concept, and I don't feel like I'm a mission anymore. I just feel like I want to be happy. I want to do what I'm most passionate about, and it happened to be spreading messages to humanity.
Yeah, I guess you are just devoted to your own liberating journey.
Yeah.
And this is all part of your liberating journey. This is all part of you loving yourself and getting more synced into the real self.
Exactly.
And everyone who is also on that journey, no matter they are conscious about it or not. And everyone who can reach you, they can taste the benefits from you and your liberating journey, and simultaneously it makes your liberating journey more amusing with the day.
You said that love is multiplied when it's shares, right? Shared.
Exactly.
So that, like, I'm being the love that I am for myself, and without doing anything, I'm sharing it without even like trying. Because when you do what
Exactly.
you love, you lead by example. You don't need
Yeah.
to do anything else. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You're amazing. I love you, and we'll be in touch.
We
Have a
definitely will.